Hello, Sarah. How are you? If you are coming to me live today, drop in the chat where you're coming in from and let me know. It's so great to see all of you, and I am just so grateful to be on here. It's a rainy kind of day here at the clinic, and it's pouring rain and raw, but I'm here for you. I'm showing up for you, and I just with the bottom of my heart, you get to have an amazing holiday season. You get to step into your power and know that what works for you when it comes to nutrition, when it comes to movement, when it comes to individuals that throw you off your game. It could be family members, it could be friends, but just stand in your true authentic self. Like I talk about this all the time, but it's like so 100% important, right? So today, I'm going to be talking about gut health, the importance between the sugar, the gut, and the brain, and this interplay that actually happens. So I have some different points that I want to talk about. And so the main point is that the gut-brain axis between the gut, I'm backwards here, the brain and the gut, it's a two-way communication system, right? So it's between the GI tract and the brain. And we know that research over and over again suggests that like the foods that we actually eat and consume, particularly sugar, can influence this relationship. Because what can happen is if we have all this inflammation in the gut, we're going to send off our cells, which are microglial cells, can become inflamed, and then we can't think as well, and then we're going down that slippery slope. And then you all know, because I've been showing up and many of you are on the live with me again, that sugar is really not your friend. It's really your enemy. And so when we start to disrupt this gut brain axis, it just can allow you not to think as well. It can allow you to have emotional outbreaks, like up and down, whether it's anxiety, whether it's depression. It can cause inflammation, so you can't get your rings on. You can feel bloated in the gut, like just so much. And so really, that's what I want to hone in on today, and really like connect with each and every one of you, so that if you're an individual that celebrates Thanksgiving and you step up to the Thanksgiving table, you can make really, really, really good choices as to like what is really going to work for you as far as foods and nutrition. And I'll get to that. I'll give that strategy at the end for you so that you can think about that. But as we talk about today, I just want you to really understand that gut-brain axis interplay for yourself. And I find, honestly, that the patients that really understand why they're doing what they're doing and why they're showing up for themselves, why they're eating what they're eating, and why foods could be causing a challenge for them in this place in their brain, and they're bloating and feeling overweight and overabundance amount of food that you can't digest, is it can really throw you off on an emotional track, and it can just spiral you down for you not to get up and feel like your best self. So I want to ask you, did you know that the human gut microbiome has over 100 trillion microorganisms in it? It's so crucial for our overall health, all these microorganisms. And this is not to say that I'm against antibiotics, because there's a time and a place, and I do use them in some bacterial cases, and, Lyme and, Bartonella and Babesia and, however, we want to think twice before we actually use them and make sure they're 100% indicated, that we have no other choice, because what antibiotics do is it just really wipes out your gut flora. And so you've worked hard to build up this gut flora and these microorganisms, like eating what you're eating, living where you're living, breathing the air from the soils, like things like that. And even when you travel and you fight off, it's part of your immune system, right? And sugar can suppress the immunity in the gut. And the gut is where your strongest immune system comes from, and your neurotransmitters communicating to the brain. The serotonin, we now know 90% of it is made in the gut. So let's step back. If we take an antibiotic, we're looking to disrupt that microbiome. So we're looking to disrupt what you've built. We do have probiotics 100%, but they can't totally overplay everything that you've eaten. We do the best we can with the ones we have, like the lactobacillus, bifidobacterium, Saccharomyces, ruderize. Like there's all different ones, and we have microbiome everywhere. We have it, we have it in the uterus, we have it in the gut, we have it in the bladder. Like it's just everywhere. So we're starting to learn more and more about it. But I'm going to talk about the gut today. So we're diving into how sugar is really affecting your gut and brain and that overall health, which is so imperative for you to be able to not only step into the holidays, but also to get yourself through another season of imbalance, because we know that the fall, winter months bring on a little bit more sort of diagnoses around flus and viruses and, colds and sniffles and sinus infections and whatnot. However, if you have a strong immunity, like myself, you often won't get sick. There's many other interplays involved in it, but I'm just focusing on the gut here. We'd also look at vitamin D. We'd look at so many different things. But again, remember, when I jump on, I'm clearly telling you what we're talking about, because there was question around that. People are trying to tie everything together. And as a naturopath, that's what I do. When I jump on with all of you and I teach and I educate and I connect with you, it's all about that sort of one subject, right? So when we're understanding the gut, we're understanding like this healthy gut has a balance of diverse microbiomes that are so crucial, not only for your immunity that we talked about, but for your digestion and even your mental brain health, right? So these microorganisms that sit in your gut, they help you digest the foods, they help you fight off harmful bacteria, and they even produce essential vitamins, right? So if you think about, just think about, there's so many little like microbiomes in there that, bacteria and whatnot that are your friends. And then there's some that are your foe. If you've never gotten your gut tested, I would highly suggest it. I think people should test their gut, especially if you're having bloating symptoms that you can't get rid of. And that would be done through a stool test. And, there's so many great stool tests out there. So basically that diversity is like crucial for your wellness, right? So what will happen if we have all this sugar? So that excessive sugar intake, it can even be from processed foods. It can be genetically modified foods, but what that sugar loves bacteria and it loves fungus. So it's going to feed your bacteria. That's not your friend. That's not your good neighbor. And then that's going to lead to an imbalance of what we call dysbiosis. And then once we step into that dysbiosis and you stay in that pattern, dysbiosis means disruption of the gut microbiome is the best way to describe it. And if you stay in that for a period of time, you can end up with irritable bowel syndrome. I'm just giving you some diagnoses. You could have constipation, you could have diarrhea, you could have IBD, irritable bowel disorder, you could have fungus, you could have yeast. You might not actually see a change in your stool with that, but I have patients that I have seen a change, right? So what you want to think about is how, after a while, sugar will open up like the gut, the permeability of the gut, and it's going to actually open up the gut junctions for more things to get through that shouldn't get through. Like, things is a medical term, right? So more can pass through that, whereas it shouldn't pass through that, right? So it starts to cause this chronic inflammation, this continual inflammation. And then what can happen is, through that gut permeability, then you end up with inflammation, right? So that's an area that you want to really be careful with. So that disruption can lead to affecting the gut lining, right? So that's a permeability of the gut lining. And then you get what you call leaky gut. How many of you have heard the term leaky gut? Drop it in the chat. Like, leaky, like there's so many individuals walking around with unhealthy guts that they have no idea that this is happening. So what happens? You start to eat a high sugar diet. We're going to talk about the brain now, the gut and the brain. You start to eat a high sugar diet. that can actually trigger systemic, like going through the blood, going through the body, inflammation. And as you get the microbiome disrupted and your leaky gut with harmful substances into your bloodstream, then you get an inflammation response. Now your immune system kicks in. And what can now happen as a result of that, or consequence, can be the mood disorders like your depression, sorry. And then what happens is those inflammatory markers begin to affect your brain, and you potentially decrease the production of those mood regulating hormones, neurotransmitters, like I talked about, like serotonin, right? So, like I mentioned earlier, 90% of your serotonin, your feel good, your mood regulating neurotransmitter, is produced in the gut. And we've known this for a while now, like I mentioned earlier. And as an imbalance in your gut, that can affect your impact of how much serotonin that you're going to make to help you regulate your mood. So when you have decreased serotonin levels, then you can look at mood disorders, like, I use the word disorders lightly, like depression and anxiety, right? So it's so important, to get your vegetables in there, to get your fiber. You want 30 grams of fiber in divided doses. You're looking at psyllium, you're looking at flax seeds, you're looking at chia seeds, like that sort, if you can handle oat or oat bran, so you want it in divided doses because you're supporting, you want soluble and insoluble fiber, look those up. Like, I don't want to go through the whole list because then I'll be listing things, but apples are great, and so it's so important to actually feed your gut and continue to build out your microbiome. So if we talk about, remember I started out with that gut-brain axis, the feedback loop, they communicate with each other. When we consume large amounts of sugar, I want you to really take this all in. It's just not about me teaching, but it's about you saying to yourself, okay, I'm hearing Dr. Donahue talk about sugar. I'm hearing all these relations. Maybe you have brain fog, maybe you have gut inflammation, but I want you to take this knowledge and then take it into the holidays and be like, I'm choosing not to eat this because I don't feel like my best self. Or I'm choosing not to eat this because it makes me bloat and then I end up with diarrhea. I don't know what the reason is, but this is where you become empowered, because I find, again, I said in the beginning, for those of you that weren't on yet, when you feel empowered and you know what you're doing and you know why you're doing it and making these choices, it's not about, I can't have this and I can't have that and I can't do this and I can't do that. I feel stressed just saying that. Instead, when I walk up to a table, it's like, what will make my gut feel happy? What will make my brain feel happy? How will I feel good after I use this meal? So we get to change the thought from the negativity into I can't to what works best for my body. So when we're looking at that gut-brain feedback loop, which I'm segueing quick here, that's your brain's reward center that's activated when you actually consume sugar. Then your brain releases dopamine and you have these feelings of pleasure. That's why sugar is so addictive. Then simultaneously, certain gut bacteria, like I mentioned earlier, are thriving on sugar. And this may send signals to the brain to be like, I need more sugar. I need more sugar. I've got to have sugar. Or your cortisol levels are dropping and you're feeling exhausted, and caffeine or sugar can give you that high, but it's only going to give you a high for a period of time, then it's going to drop you, right? So you want to be conscientious of knowing this for your body, because this vicious cycle is vicious. And I want your body to work more on fat and protein. I don't want your body to burn through sugar. In fact, we talk about this quite often, that whatever your ideal body weight is, say your ideal, I'm just going to grab a number, no judgment, 140 pounds or 150 pounds. You should eat 150 grams of protein each day in divided doses. So that could look like 5 meals, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30. It could look like, it could look like 4 meals, divide 150 divided by 4. And then your next step is 75 to 80 grams of fat for the brain and for the gut. You cannot get omega-3s from the outside world. I keep teaching this because patients keep getting confused with it. You have to get omega-3 sources, which is like avocados, salmons, halibuts, walnuts, fish oils, olive oil, like things like that. You have to get from the outside world. You cannot make omega-3 in the body, and your brain is 80% fat. I just read a research article at 75, but I'm pretty close. Give me 5% here. So when you're eating that sugar, your brain can thrive on that, and it's going to send signals to the brain that's promoting more sugar intake. Did you guys all hear that? So that's why you feel good when you eat sugar. That's why you feel good when you eat sugar, because your brain's like, wow, this feels great. This is pleasurable. This is happy. I'm going to thrive on this. I'm releasing dopamine. Like, sugar's making me feel really good. And then guess what? You need more. You need more. And I've been there. Not there now, but I teach this because I've been there, and it has been a struggle. And for me, I just had to give it up altogether. That's what worked best for me. That doesn't mean it works for you. You have to do what works for you. So, that the consequences are this feedback loop where the brain craves more and more sugar. It's going to feed certain gut bacteria, and then your brain is going to want you to just keep consuming sugar. And then you're going to end up in consuming overabundance of sugar, and you're going to disrupt your gut health, which we just talked about, the microbiome, and we're going to exacerbate your brain effects, right? So your body's going to want more sugar. Are any questions coming up for any of you? Those of you that are now joining, please let me know where you're coming in from, and let me know if you have any questions today. We're talking about the brain and the gut health. So if we look at, I don't know about you, but I want my brain, type 3 diabetes is Alzheimer's. And so it can, all this sugar can cause cognitive decline or cognitive impairments, whatever word that we want to use. And when we get into that chronic high sugar consumption, that can lead to your gut being imbalanced, and that can impact your thought process, your cognition. And then this inflammatory response and the insulin resistance now can influence your brain health. Because over time, you're going to get a risk for cognition decline, memory issues, and then a greater risk for neurodegenerative disease. I can honestly tell you, in the last 3 months, I've seen more patients with degenerative disc disease and neurodegeneration and like tremors and things like that than I've seen in a long time. So, the reason for that, I'm not sure, but sugar can affect that, right? That's where you hear people say they have neuropathy, like they can't feel their feet. That's where diabetics get the neuropathy. So, over time, like your brain, it's just so much sugar. So now it's hitting the neurons, right? So with this, I can't stress enough the importance of the intricate connection between the gut and the brain. This means that what we feed our bodies directly impacts our brain. How healthy our gut microbiome directly affects our brain. So with the holidays coming up and stepping into Thanksgiving, we're here now. Like, I decorated my clinic. I'm doing my house the day after Thanksgiving. I love the holidays, and I know many of you, it's a struggle. We've talked about that. But I send prayers and love to you that you have a great holiday anyway. But when you start to think about reducing sugar, then you're now affecting and supporting your microbiome. And this is going to help you maintain your healthy gut brain access. And then overall, you're going to feel more mentally well grounded and a stronger emotional well-being. So I'm going to get closer and say to you, why is that also important at the holidays? Like, if somebody triggers you and you just can't get your mind connected into that trigger response, like if you have not anxiety, not blood sugar drops, and you've got quality protein, healthy fats, you're going to be able to think through the process better. You're not just going to fire off a response. or it depends, right? Like, I'm just really trying to support you, but you more likely, if you have quality protein, quality fats, and you start to get your body to burn that way, then your metabolism is going to be in a better place rather than you just burning through sugar and your brain needing more and more sugar, like we talked about. And then the brain's like, oh, that feedback loop. Oh, look at that. I want more sugar. I want more sugar. And then your gut bacteria, that's not a healthy gut bacteria, wants more sugar, wants more sugar. It becomes this vicious cycle. Now, keep in mind, this context is only sugar, but you're also thinking about genetically modified foods and processed foods that your body can't even digest, that you're now dumping into the gut on top of high sugar intake. Sugar is like fueling a fire. So, you put gasoline on the fire, it's like, whoosh. That's what it does to your inflammation. And when I begin to take patients like about 2 to 3 months off of sugar, they've been off of it for a while or declined it, we're talking rices, we're talking pastas. Our portion sizes in America, I'm being extreme, like this much rice, but really it's like this much rice. Rice can spike your blood sugar up into the morning, so it's like just knowing what your body works on and its best. So that's just like, I want you to get to step into the holidays. Like we keep talking about, like peace and love and health and energy. And like, there is no time like today to actually step into who you get to be. And like having a really strong immune system, because we talked about 70% of the immune system is in the gut, right? So, and having that healthy microbiome to fight off those pathogens is part of like gut health. And then the high sugar impact, like we talked about earlier, can really affect the immune system. So I talked about some dietary choices, but let me drop into kind of maybe like what I might do, or even some direct nutrition that would work really well for you. So fiber-rich foods, right? Like leafy greens, like raw spinaches, like broccoli, that's going to feed the gut bacteria. Then we're looking at, you could look at fermented foods like pickles and sauerkrauts, your pre and probiotics. And then, people will say opt for more natural like honey and stevia, and sure, but it's still sugar. Stevia is not, but it's not going to blunt your sugar response. But honeys and maple syrups, they're a better choice, but they're still sugar. And if you're addicted, it's still going to feed the body. So you want to be careful how much sugar you're putting in. So think about when you step up to the Thanksgiving table, I want you to really think about, if it feels right, what is my protein? What is it? Is it turkey? Do you guys do lamb? I mean, I don't know. Do you guys do fish at your Thanksgiving table? Everybody does it so different. So I pick protein at our Thanksgiving. It's turkey. So I'd go and I'd pick my turkey. And then I'm probably not a good indicator because my family eats really healthy. Not to say that they don't like their ice cream or their pies or whatever. I bring a healthy pie, which I can talk about how I make that. But we bring a ton of vegetables, and we have mashed potatoes from the farm that we make, and then squash, right? So we've got different kinds of vegetables. We don't even bring breads to the table anymore. So, I know I'm a different character, but I just want you to think about, what's my protein? What's my vegetable? How many vegetables can I get out of like the spread of what people brought? And then maybe a little bit of starch. Is it like a sweet potato? Is it like a squash? Is it an acorn squash? Is it a butternut squash? Like, what does that get to look like? And then where's my healthy fat? So whether it's in a dressing, whether it's an olive oil, if you're at somebody else's house, can use their olive oil? Could you put it on something? And so that sort of makeup is going to carry your body and your energy. If you spin it differently and you have like this much turkey, this much mashed potatoes, this much gravy, this much stuffing, then you're going to get that bloat. You're going to get the fatigue. And everybody blames it on turkey and tryptophan, but really the truth is that your body can't digest all that food. It's just like too much. So then everybody just goes to sleep. So that's how I would maneuver the table. And maybe you do a workout before you go. I mean, I always do a turkey trot. So maybe there's something that you do before you show up at your Thanksgiving dinner, or if you go out to dinner or whatever, choose that way at the menu as well. And then drink some water or have some tea while you're sitting and enjoying individuals. And then usually at that point, your meal is there. Now, don't go there starving and stressed out, because starving and stressed out, if there's appetizers and hors d'oeuvres there, there's also starches in there usually, and depending. But again, try to get to a vegetable tray if you can. If there's something wrapped in some sort of grain, try to save it as a protein. And I know food combining can be off the table during the holidays. And then after you eat and you clean up the dishes and whatnot, like my family always goes for a walk. Like, get outside and move your body. I mean, unless you're in like snow up to here and you can't get out, which can be possible. Or do some stretches or something. Like, keep moving, get the digestion going. So that is so, so, so important. And then, so the lower the sugar meals. And then if you're going to have dessert, great. But if you typically have this much pie, decide to have this much pie. Decide to cut it down, right? Decide to cut it down. You could do, you could bring some, coconut with you. That might help blunt the sugar response. You could bring some nuts with you, or if there's some walnuts or whatever, and eat some walnuts or almonds with your pie or your cake or whatever your choice is. And that will help blunt the sugar response, right? So just be conscientious how you show up at the table. Are you at the holiday party, at the table? How can you maneuver the table? And what can you do out of everything that you learned from me? Because I want you to be successful over the holidays. I want you to be able to step into who you are as an individual and know that you have support to get there, right? Because there's nothing like not having the support that you need and showing up at the holiday table and being completely exhausted and completely stressed out that you're not really sure where where can you get support? What does that support get to look like, right? So are there any questions that I can answer right now? I'm just so grateful there's so many of you on. And I just am, I'm really, really, really excited to be able to share with you what that looks like. So can I answer any questions at this point in the game? Does anyone want to click and ask me questions? Because I'm 100% here with questions. And there's several of you on today, so I would love to know. No questions? Come on, you guys. Nobody has any questions. So everybody's like, they're going to rock this holiday. The Thanksgiving's going to come and Thanksgiving's going to go, and things are going to be amazing for yourself, right? Like, that's just how it's going to be. Okay, so I want to share with you what I have been working on for so long. And I'm just so excited to share this with you to help really carry you through, like, embracing and pulsing your radiance and confidence through the holidays. And I've been working on this for you because so many individuals have reached out and they're just like, I just kind of need a roadmap. I need a blueprint. Like, can you support me on some ideas so I really know where I'm going? Or like, naturopathic medicine is expensive and like, I'm ready to do this and we're in a recession and we're, all of the things I hear like consistently 24/7. Like, and I want you to be successful in what as an individual. So from now until Monday, I have created, and I dropped it in the chat. It's an amazing offer. It's $97. And it's actually my 7 pillars of wellness. And I've really thought deep and hard about this. There's videos in there. There's me sharing. And those that purchase, I may even decide to go live with just all of you once you start to go through it and actually help support you on the journey. There is an upgrade in there for $50 that I actually love. Like, people have loved it this year. It's Pocket Doc. And basically, it's audios of me speaking about real-time patients, about real-time diagnoses, about real-time healing. It can be mindset, it can be spirituality, it can be connection. And for a short time offer, it's $50 for 2 months. That's typically $247. So the 7 pillars of wellness is like a $5,000 program. $4,600 is how I calculated it out. So, for $97, typically I'm going to run it for $197. For $97 plus like Pocket Doc for $147, like you get support from me where my patients pay me thousands of dollars to see me and connect with me on a daily basis. Why am I doing that? Because I want you to be able to have the support that you need. I want you to be able to show up through the holidays with peace and confidence and clarity and just like feeling like your best self, because the 7 pillars of wellness is what I've created for the foundation of your health to help you create new habits and self-care practices so that you can live a beautiful, fulfilling life from now into 2024 and thereon. Because the truth is like, you just can't get rid of one thing right now. Like every habit that you make and every habit that you change that moves you forward allows you to be healthier. So let me just briefly talk about the 7 pillars. We're looking at your physical, your healthier body to like strengthen your immune system, what to eat, the impact that your nutrition has on your mind and body. We just talked about that. Pillar number 2, I believe, is all about gut health and your environmental toxicity, as well as the immunity like we talked about, but it's a much deeper dive. I'm going to give you clarity around blood sugar. That's like one of my favorite things to talk about. Not really. I don't really love sugar. It causes havoc in all of your lives, but I want you to be able to navigate your choices throughout the holidays and really understand even a deeper dive than I did today on how to manage your blood sugar so that you get energized. You're not feeling like you can't get out of bed. You're dragging your feet out of bed. Like that is so important. Like when you have your vision, you don't want to be dragging yourself. Sleep. Like the pillar 4, I believe, is sleep and restoring your mind and body. Your brain gets rid of toxicity and chemicals and detoxes at night and really embraces healing. And then like once you start to know getting deeper sleep, you can make better decisions. Then we also have exercise and movement. Like your fitness plan gets to be yours, but I dive into the healing of rhythms of exercise, and then you get to tailor it to your current fitness level. Everyone's like, how to exercise? You don't have to make it difficult. God put us on this earth to move our body. Pillar 6 is all about a healthier spirit. Like, how can you practice abundant health like I do and have grateful and gratitude for your unique health journey? And lastly, pillar number 7 is feeling your health, like really like your healthier mind, because the truth is your mind is your most powerful asset you have. So how can you boost your mind to boost the quality of your life? How can you balance your stress and emotions? And, creating that positivity mindset is part of healing, right? It's not like here's an herb, here's a supplement, you're deficient in this. But our minds are so powerful, they can either move us forward or stop us. How many people have this negative record player playing in their head? They're not good enough. They're not loved. They're not this. I don't know what that record player is, but that can cause illness. So I have created the 7 pillars of wellness over the last 18 years of clinical practice. So you have the opportunity to finally reach your health and wellness goals at affordable rates. And I'm here each step of the way helping support. And why? Because I care. I honestly 100% care deeply about your health. And having this kind of healing and access to natural healing and wellness should be accessible to you. And so I heard you. I have emails upon emails, and it just is coming from my heart, right? So I took the time and I put it all together. And I really believe that you get to have a happier, healthier life. And how about stepping into 2022, like where there's like energy and happiness and joy. Like, what would that look like for you? And one of the things I also always talk about, as well as not only do you get to do the work on the outside and do the healing on the outside, but you also get to do your amazing healing. I mean, on the inside, you also get to think about doing your amazing healing on the inside as well. And then as you feel good on the outside, many of you know that I was in the apparel industry. And as you start to feel good on the outside, that on the inside, then you start to feel good on the outside, right? So I want to share with you an offer that has come through to me that I want to pass on to you. And I'm grabbing the code right now for you. And it's you want to click on share 25 when you actually get this. And this is for you to feel great in your body during the holidays. And it's 25% off. I'm grabbing the code right now. I'm sorry, I didn't have this ready for you. But in the meantime, as I'm waiting for it, what sort of questions do you have for me? Like, what is coming up for you? Anybody have any questions at all? I just can't believe nobody has one question. That's like super, super amazing to me. Let me try to grab this for you guys. Okay, it's all in the computer. So let's see. Let me grab this for you. So when you click on this, you're gonna like I said, you're gonna want to put in share 25. And if you have any questions, you know where to find me. And so this is a 25% off, and you're going to put it in the promo. So it's called Share 25. So once you get to that link in the promo center, it'll say Share 25, and that will give you 25% off that amazing lifestyle clothing that like I love, like I wear, like when I'm totally outside of here. And you know, because not only do we get to feel good inside, but as we feel good, my saying is always, as we feel good on the inside, then we get to feel good on the outside, and we get to show up with clarity and confidence and joy and, you know, all that journey. So if nobody has any questions, I went longer than I told you guys. 30 minutes, I believe, is what the email said. You know where I am. If you have any questions about the 7 pillars of health, let me know. I'm here to support you. I'm here to answer questions. I will not be on tomorrow. I'm taking time with my family. I have an 89-year-old mom and a 90-year-old dad, and just so grateful that they're still with us. And so I will be enjoying all the festivities and having the cooking and all that fun stuff. But you guys are on my heart all the time. Like I say that with love for my patients and everybody that shows up for themselves, because if you're here, I know you're committed to change. But don't let your mind take you out of the change, because change is good. Habits are good. You need a good book on habits. You know, Atomic Habits is great. James Clear. And then Tiny Habits is also a fabulous book. I would not microwave my food. There's a question that's saying, what's my take on microwave? I think microwave takes all the good quality nutrients out of the food. I do not own a microwave. When I redid my kitchen 15 years ago, I don't like microwaves. All the nutrients are taken out of it. There's research around it. So then the food is radiated. So I prefer to cook on slower temperatures. Even when I cook a roast, or even when I cook on the grill, I turn the temperatures down. I think this quick fix, this fast, quick cooking isn't good. I don't know how good air fryers are. They're pretty quick cooking too, but cooking too, I can't give you any research around that, but there's so much around microwaves that I don't even own one. I don't even cook water in it. So it's like depleting your nutrients. But thank you for that question. I appreciate that. All right, people, so much love. Happy, happy, happy Thanksgiving. I'm just so grateful that you're doing this journey, and I'm so grateful to be here on this journey. And have a beautiful holiday season, and we will see you on Friday. I believe it's at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, but you'll get an email. And if you want to get on the email list, feel free. You can get on my email list through the Simple Health link up there. All right. Happy Thanksgiving. So much love, you guys. Take good care of yourself and maneuver that Thanksgiving table like you're the boss, because you are. You're the boss of your health.